Alright guys, so what I'm doing today is I'm wiring in a scramble button, and I didn't want to have too many buttons laying around, and I wanted it to be something that is easy to operate, preferably with my right hand, because I do have to shift the car manually. I'd rather keep at least my left hand on the steering wheel the whole time. So I was looking for, maybe installing a button on the right side of the car. But then kind of thought to myself, I watch Turbo John a lot, and he has his hazard switch where when he hits that hazard switch, it activates his scramble button. So what I did was try and figure this out. Now, I'll be the first to admit, the electrical side of automotives is not I don't really know much about it, right? So, first off, when I pulled the hazard switch out, the connector for it just fell apart. So this is actually perfect. Plus the hazards didn't work anyway, and lastly, I really don't need them. So I took the switch apart, just did a little testing. I had my multimeter out, and I was doing some testing, and basically all I did was the way that it should work. So this is the ground for the switch, and then this is a 12 volt. Usually this is hooked up over here, and then basically these two are the power wires, and then as soon as you flick it on, it closes the loop, and then it goes into like a closed circuit mode. But what I did was, so now I have 12 volts between here and here, but nothing when I flip the switch, or nothing with the switch off. But then when I flip the switch, it gives me 12 volts here. Well, on all these really, or these two. So basically I'm just going to run a wire off of this third prong right here to input number 4, which is my last input, and then that'll be my scramble button. So I'll have to switch in the software so that scramble, or so that button works off of a 12 volt supply. But basically it'll have nothing, but then as soon as I flick that button, it'll supply 12 volts. So the reason for this is for, when we actually start racing the car, but I can start testing it out too. But yeah, that'll be basically once and I can show you, I'll show you this inside the software. When I hit that button, it'll put pressure on top of the gate and give us more boost. So I'm gonna finish hooking it up, and then I'll put the car on wastegate basically, and then put three on top of the dome for the scramble, and then just take it down the road, just drive it lightly, and then scramble it and see if it gives us that little boost. So I'm going to try and show you guys here basically what I'm working with. It's going to be hard because I got one hand working I'm going to have to try and use this voltmeter like chopsticks basically. So if you see right now, right, so my the black and blue is giving us 12 volts, and then if I go black, and then if I go black to our third prong, it doesn't really give us anything. But when I flick, the new and improved quote-unquote scramble button, and I go back between the black and that third prong, gives us our 12 volts. So just to tackle this really quick, what I'm going to do is open the Boost ICF, right? And so this is what I'm installing right here, the Boost Scramble Increase. You can do increase or decrease. I'm sure decrease is for, dudes with like crazy setups, and that's definitely not us. We want increase. So I'll do an increase right now, so now that's activated. Before we do anything with that input, right, if you come over here, you notice Boost Scramble is set up as a ground, but the way that we're doing it, we're supplying 12 volts with that input. So switch that to 12 volts. And now we have to go ahead and pin it. So let's go to the pin map. It's right here. It's showing a 12 volts. I wired it into input 4. So once input 4, there you go, sees 12 volts, we're good to go. So now I'm going to upload this to the computer, and I am going to give it a shot and make sure before I even go out and try it that when I click that button, it's activating that scramble. And so now to test that, what I did was I have a little boost file here, or data driver, basically data monitor. You just take the Boost Scramble Plus, and I just dropped it down in here. And so now when I flick that switch on, I believe that should turn green. And it does. So when I flick that switch on, whatever we put into this table here, which for now I'm going to do 3 pounds on top of the gate, and then I'm going to switch back to boost by RPM, just because I'm not working off of the, I'm not going to work off the brake here. And then yeah, I mean, we can go off 2, and then put 3 on top of it. Well, you know what, let's just be safe. We'll go off 0. So we should only see 3 pounds, and then as we scramble, it should give us, what, 6 pounds. But there should be a noticeable difference when we actually activate that button. So let's go ahead and give it a shot, and we'll see if it works. I'd say that works. All right, so if you saw at the beginning of that video when I started the car, I think this throttle body, it's a BBK 75mm, but it just acts up randomly. The other day at the track, it started doing it too, where it was surging up and down, and it took a minute for it to calm down, and even just there, and all I did was like kick the throttle really quick, not even to add, it might have went to 1% and then back to 0, and then it leveled right off. So I might look into getting rid of this throttle body. Anyway, let's check out the data. Enjoy my reflection in the screen there. But I'm gonna look at this second wide open throttle here, because this is really where I did it twice, just I kind of kicked it on really quick and then I shut it off. So if you look at this is the boost line right here, I believe. Oh no, that's fuel flow. Okay, I'm in the wrong table, that's fine. Let's go to the boost line. Oh yeah, you can see right away. Okay, we're at 3.5 pounds. As soon as we hit that scramble, it shoots up to 7.5, almost 8. Yeah, it kicks us up to 8 and then drops us back to 7.5, which is, I mean, basically what we should have gotten off that. But man, really awesome feature. It'll be fun once I actually get out and start racing. How did the fuel do while that happened? All right, so our duty cycle, I mean, it spiked a little bit up to 74. I mean, yeah, I feel like 10 pounds is really as high as we're going to be able to go, because you can see if you watch right here, watch the boost, and you can watch on the graph if you can see it. 3.5, 5, 7, 8, and this is all happening within, let's see, I hit the button at 110.8 seconds, and at 111.1 it's got 8 pounds in it. So happens within a split second. And our AFR, man, it doesn't spike at all. I mean, it keeps up. It gets slightly lean. We saw a 12.4 for just a quick spike second, but it calms back down right after. But even I think, that's conservative, or not conservative, but that's fine since we're on E85. let's see what else. So yeah, 3 pounds right up to 8, levels off to 7. Let's just remind ourselves what I put on top of the gate for that. So I did boost by RPM because I switched it up at the track. I run off the button. And then the curve right here, 0 pounds, so our 3.5, and then our scramble, we put 3 on top of the gate. So honestly, that's the best part about this system for me, is the features that this thing has, to where you can add stuff like this. Like, never in my life did I think I was going to own a car with a scramble button. And I had seen, I will not take credit for this, I've never seen it hooked up. I figured out how to hook it up myself, which was not very hard. But this is how Turbo John runs his. And I just love, one of my favorite things is just to watch him, and to me, he's an idol of mine. He's a local guy. He's an outstanding drag racer. No prep, he does it all. But anyway, I just love watching him. Say he's behind the race and he grabs that scramble, and to me, it's just one of the coolest things. So this is a Turbo John inspired scramble button install. Even the car kind of. I mean, it's obviously nowhere near as quick as his car, but it's not a beautiful car by any means. It's kind of a weird brown copper, dark copper color, just kind of like his, and except mine's like the Wish.com version of his car. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this one. Just my tinkering around today with the car. I was going to go to the track and do some test and tune, but the weather's looking pretty gnarly. It's about to rain. So we'll get back out there next week and, do some more racing and stuff like that. So thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.